This week it has been reported that the Flash movie from Warner Brothers and the DCU will be getting a page one rewrite. So the script is being redone from the very beginning. This marks the latest in a very long line of terrible omens, flat red flags, whatever you want to call it for the DCU. So, as you know with this movie, this will be the fourth different script. We had the original treatment by Lord and Miller, who brought you the Lego movies. But then you had Seth Grahame-Smith, who was brought on to direct. He wrote his own script, and he left for creative differences. Then we had Rick Famuyiwa, the director of Dope, come on as director and write his own script. And then he left for creative differences. So now Warner Brothers wants to go in a completely different direction. Basically signaling that, yes, it is a problem with the script. As far as creative differences, it basically is saying Warner Brothers has an idea of where this movie should go that the directors don't agree with. So I'm hashtag Team Reboot now. And I've been hashtag Team Reboot now for a while. I just really believe that Warner Brothers is not the studio, at least not currently, to shepherd the DCU. And it pisses me off because I'm a fan of the DCU. I'm a fan of the movies so far. I like Man of Steel. I mean, I love it actually. I'm sorry. I really, really like Batman vs. Superman, and I do enjoy the Suicide Squad. So, for me, this isn't a Marvel versus DC fanboy thing. I don't think any fan really wants to see a bad movie. I never go into a movie rooting for it to be bad. I don't want to pay my money and go see a bad movie. Even if you're a Marvel fanboy, it doesn't help anybody to have bad movies. So, it has nothing to do with that. It really is me being a fan of the potential of the properties of the characters and the stories. To see it done so, distastefully, to this point, it really upsets me. And again, I defend those movies. However, the pattern of Warner Brothers interference can't be ignored. Let's just look at the latest headlines. It was not too long ago, few weeks, that somebody on Collider and the Smos, which are two channels I watch, talked about a friend they have in the industry or works for Warner Brothers that is seeing Wonder Woman movie, and they said it's a mess. They said it's an absolute mess. And for me, even if that person actually saw the movie and they did think it was a mess, that's a subjective thing. One person could feel one way about a movie. The CEO of Disney can say Avengers was horrible and it still makes $1 billion. So that didn't really shake me. But for those who've heard us report a while ago, there was a former Warner Brothers employee who went online and she let out a lot of dirt. And one of the things she said is Wonder Woman is a mess right now. She said it makes no sense. It's thrown together because the studio came in and changed things. And she was a fan of the DC properties, and she was upset at how Warner Brothers was messing it up. So now this is the second time we're hearing it. It might be something to it. And this doesn't have all the pressure, but everybody's watching for Wonder Woman. We're looking for Justice League, but we're really looking for Wonder Woman. We want to see Patty Jenkins' new flavor. We want to see a woman lead a movie, female character. So this is pretty big, and if it flops, where does that leave us? And this comes on the heels of stuff like Shazam being split into two different movies to basically give The Rock a movie earlier than expected. And some reports are saying Black Adam might not be the main villain in the Shazam movie. What? Really? Shazam without fighting Black Adam, but Black Adam has his own movie? Are you serious? And then we got this Green Lantern rumor. They want to make Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. They want to put them together because they're scared of Hal Jordan by himself. after what happened with the Ryan Reynolds movie. Okay, but they say they wanted a Lethal Weapon in space. Seriously, Lethal Weapon? These are characters and stories that can stand on their own, and you want to make it a Lethal Weapon. But then we hear Ryan Reynolds is in talk, or not in talks, but they're considering him to come back. Now, I think this rumor, or I think it's a complete rumor. I think it might be fake. No one's discredited it yet. However, knowing Warner Brothers, it might be true. These dudes is so stupid, it might be true. As they look and say, wow, Deadpool made money, let's bring him back. Who cares? He's popular right now. So, it's just a number of missteps that we've seen. And again, I like Suicide Squad. I really did like that movie. I liked the remix they did to it that pretty much turned it into a music style, bright light, fun movie, because I think villains should have fun. Villains are different than heroes. So I liked it, but you basically went over David Ayer's head and changed his movie. And David Ayer recently came out and said on Twitter, a fan basically tweeted him saying, hey, I love, this movie, bump what the haters say. And Ayer was just like, yeah, thanks. It was fun, but I didn't make the movie I wanted to make. If I could go back and do it again, I would make Joker the main villain, not Enchantress. I would make a better story and all these other things. And this just highlights, again, the studio coming after Batman vs. Superman and trying to change the formula to make it more profitable. And forcing him into that timeline of 6 weeks to write a script. So some of this stuff might be David Ayer's fault. However, I gotta feel that Warner Brothers forcing him into a time crunch has something to do with it. And here's the really frustrating part. Even if you felt we need to make a change, just because the fans said, hey, the movie was dark, that's why it sucks, you listen to them. Seriously, the movie was bad just because it was dark. There's no movie that's bad just because of the tone. And so they listened to it to the point they went and screwed up Suicide Squad from what it was. And then they said, hey, look at the Justice League set visit. We're having fun over here. Look at this fun logo. Look at these fun characters. We're going to have jokes. It's no longer dark. We're changing it around. And so now you completely change the story from what Zack Snyder wanted. And we don't know how it turns out, but the point is, that tells me the studio has no idea what the property they're dealing with if they think the tone is the one reason people didn't like it. So that's upsetting. And then of course you got the big controversy that I didn't cover, but Ben Affleck basically in the interview saying, hey, if the scripts, we don't have a script right now for the Batman, and if it's not good, I'm not doing it. Ben Affleck is the co-writer of the Batman. So to say we don't have a script, go write a script. This basically what people felt was him having a shot at Warner Brothers. Like, hey, if you don't let me make this the way I want to make it, I'm not doing it. And he said that before in the interview. If the script's not right, he won't do it. But you're writing the script. And you told us it was coming along well. Now you're saying there is no script. And a lot of people believe his new movie, Live by Night, is the reason that Warner Brothers is kind of getting their hands in it. They're like, hey, your track record's not perfect now. Now that you got a bad movie out, we need to come in and tell you what to do. And that was his way of saying, get out of my business. And make no mistake, he's under contract to do certain Batman movies, or movies as Batman. And if they wanted him to do that movie, he's going to do it. But he doesn't have to direct it. He doesn't have to write it. He doesn't have to produce it. So that was kind of a power play. And then he comes out the next week on Jimmy Kimmel. Hey, don't worry, I'm directing the Batman. It's just going to take time to write the script. Give me some time. Be patient. And people speculate that behind the scenes, Warner Brothers did whatever he asked them to do and everything's fine. I don't know. I'm not there. None of us know if we're not there. But something was going on. It was a little too weird for him to just randomly come out like that. Something was happening behind the scenes, whether he was not getting along with Jeff Johns or that, he actually was having a power play. But this just all goes to the bigger picture. Warner Brothers needs to reboot it. It needs to tear it down and do it over again. Whether that means you make DC its own studio and they just handle DC movies, or you create a new structure in which these executives are the only ones who handle DC movies. Because this is pretty much like sports, where an owner is really trying to be involved with picking the players, telling the players who play, telling the coach what plays to call, instead of, hey, I'm an owner, I'm going to hire the right people, I'm going to pick the people, and then I'm going to trust them to do their job. I'm going to let the coach do his job, I'm going to let the players do their job. That's what Marvel has. Marvel has Kevin Feige. They have a structure where here are the people in charge, they answer to me, but I'm going to let them do their job. DC needs that. Warner Brothers needs that. And it needs to be structured. So there's a lot of greedy people over there. And somebody at the top needs to realize, like, hey, I want to swim around like Scrooge McDuck and all this money. We all want this money. But for the long run, it might be better for us to stop and set the structure up, the foundation, so we could be profitable. Instead of saying, hey, let's just rush all these movies out and try to make some money. And let's change things on the fly. No, we don't need reactionary. We don't need you changing things. Studios can be involved. I don't care. They can meddle. They can get involved. They're paying for the movie. But don't go to the point where we're just going to keep changing every time a fan or online comment or a critic says we suck. You got to stick with the plan and trust the people that are executing the plan. So, just for me at this point, I think they need to reboot. I think they need to tear it all down. You don't have to explain to the fans. I mean, you got the Amazing Spider-Man 2, made a lot of money. Sony said, hey, we're rebooting this thing. They didn't announce it or explain it. They basically just said, hey, there's no more Amazing Spider-Mans. And then they came back with the deal with Disney and Marvel, and now we got a new Spider-Man. So I don't think you have to tell anybody any reasons. You just say, we're going back to the drawing board, like you did with the Flash movie. We're starting it over and get new actors, new directors, everything. But set the structure up for this thing to actually be successful. So, I'm going to stop right there. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Should they start over? Is it too early? Is it too late? What do you think about the DCU? Are you team or hashtag team reboot now? Like, thumbs up, subscribe, everything. And if you heard it, here's the official canon.